Do you know what it feels like to catch a billionaire staring at you like you are trash while you are teaching his daughter under a mango tree? Do you know how it feels to know one wrong word from that man could send you and your mentally ill mother back into the gutter for good? Now, imagine he walks toward you, and instead of destroying your world, he decides to rewrite it. My name is Benjamin, and for a long time nobody said it kindly. On the streets, they called me gutter boy, mad woman's son, cursed child. All those names people use when they want to step over you without feeling too bad about it. I grew up beside a busy Lagos road, sleeping under a broken kiosk with my mother Sarah, who lived in a reality only she could see. And I learned very early that survival is loud, humiliating, relentless, and that dreaming feels like a luxury item made for other people. My mother was not always like that, or so they told me. They said she used to be beautiful, smart, full of life, but by the time I was old enough to understand words, the light in her eyes had scattered into voices, shadows, fears that were not there. Some mornings she would wake up, gentle, call me her little prince, sing old lullabies while I washed her face with water from a cracked pipe, wrap her cloth tightly, so she looked a little less exposed to the world. Other days she would scream at cars, throw stones at puddles, try to pluck invisible birds from the sky, and I would have to drag her out of the road before a bus turned both of us into a headline nobody cared to read twice. We begged. That was our job. I would guide her to the same spot by the gutter, sit her down, whisper, "Please, Mommy, today, try to stay calm." Then watch people pass like we were part of the trash pile. Sometimes they dropped coins, most days they dropped insults. When kids pointed and laughed, I pretended not to hear. When grown men called her crazy, I held her hand a little tighter. When they called me cursed, I swallowed it. Hunger will teach you to swallow a lot. But here is the strange part. Under all that dirt, shame, and noise, my mind was awake. I loved numbers. I loved the way letters turned into sounds, sounds into words, words into ideas. I used to watch children in neat uniforms walk past with their backpacks, and I would whisper to myself, one day, I will wear that. It sounded ridiculous even to me, but that stubborn thought would not die. You know what I mean, that tiny, unreasonable hope that refuses to move out, even when life keeps slamming the door in its face. The first person who saw that part of me was a woman named Amanda. She ran a small food stand not far from where we begged big pots of jollof rice and pepper soup, steam rising into the dust. One afternoon, she watched me a little too long. I hated that being stared at like a stray dog, so I looked away. A few minutes later, she crossed the road, set a warm plate in front of me, and said, "Eat." No strings, no nasty smile. Just food. Real food with meat that fell off the bone. I did not trust it at first, but she waited until I took a bite and then asked, "What is your name?" I said Benjamin, like I was not sure it was worth hearing. She started calling me to help at the stand, paying me with leftovers and small notes. One day she caught me crouched by the wall, scratching multiplication tables in the dust with a stick. "Where did you learn that?" she asked. I told her about standing outside a school listening through the window. She did not laugh. Within a week, she had marched me into a public school office, paid my fees, put an exercise book and a second-hand uniform in my hands, and said, "Make me proud, I do not have money to waste." That first day I walked into class. Kids snickered at my oversized shirt and worn sandals. But when the teacher started asking questions, something clicked. Every answer I had stolen from those windows came pouring out. The kids stopped laughing. The teacher stared. For the first time in my life, I was not just the crazy woman's son. I was the smart boy. I was somebody. For a little while, life almost looked like a life. School during the day, work at Amanda's stand in the evening, sleep beside my mother at night, still begging, still struggling, but with a direction now, not just drifting. Then the envelope came. UK visa approved. Amanda cried when she told me. I have paid your fees till end of term, she said. After that, God will help you. I wanted to scream, to grab her hand, to say, take me with you, but poverty trains you not to ask for too much. So I just nodded. 3 weeks later, she was gone. When the term ended, the headmistress called me in. She did not look like a villain, she just looked tired. Benjamin, no one has paid your next fees, she said. We are sorry you cannot continue. Just business. I waited by the gate until the sun went down, holding my nylon bag with my books, watching every woman who passed, hoping one of them would be her. She never came. Finally, the gateman told me, "Small boy, go home." I did not know where that was anymore. What happened next turned me into that kid people whisper about. I went back to the windows. If a school would not let me in, I would stand outside and grab whatever I could. I listened through cracked glass, through broken sections of fences, mouthing answers with kids who had desks. When my exercise book got soaked in the rain, I used flyers from the ground. When those filled up, I wrote in the dirt. Teachers chased me away, guards accused me of planning to steal. One of them grabbed my arm so hard I had bruises for days. A teacher once swung a stick at me, shouting, "Go and tell your mad mother to pay fees, if you even know who your mother is." That one hurt more than the stick. One night after getting chased from bright scholars, I sat alone under a tree, my stomach chewing itself, my mother babbling to a plastic bottle beside me, and I looked up at the sky and said, "God, why did you make me smart if you were going to lock every door? If you do not want me in, why let me see through the keyhole?" No answer, just traffic. Then I met Lily, Queen's Crest. International school was not built for kids like me. High walls, guards with radios, glass shining like diamonds, children stepping out of SUVs with drivers and bodyguards. The kind of place my mother used to point at in her rare, clear moments and say, "Big people live there." I had seen it too many times from a distance, and one morning something snapped. I thought, if they chase me, I am already being chased. I found a gap near a drainage, squeezed through, slipped behind flower beds, until I found a big mango tree looking into one of the junior classrooms. I was crouched there, copying words from the board onto a scrap of nylon, when I heard a voice behind me. "You are the boy they keep chasing away, right?" I froze. I turned slowly. A girl stood there in a perfect uniform, cornrows, neat shoes, shining name tag, Lily Williams. I started apologizing immediately. "I am sorry, I did not mean any harm, I just want to learn, I will go." She tipped her head. "You do not go to school." I told her no, told her about my mother, about Amanda, about being thrown out. Then she did something nobody else did. That year she sat down in the grass. She opened her textbook to fractions and said, "Explain this to me. I do not get it." I stared at the page, then at her. "You from here do not understand this." She shrugged, eyes dropping. "Everyone thinks I am slow. They say my dad pays to push me forward. No one has time to help me." The words came out of me before I could stop them. I showed her with bits of leaf and stones, turned fractions into slices. She could see, spoke the way I would have if I were teaching myself beside the road. 10 minutes later, something lit up in her face. "Wait," she whispered. "I understand. You made it easy." That moment under that mango tree felt louder than all the insults of the years before. We made a quiet deal. Every lunch break, she would bring food and books. I would find my way back through that gap set under the tree and teach her. She started smiling more. She stopped ducking her head in class. My brain finally had a job, make the rich girl understand the world she was paying for. We were two broken kids from two different sides of the city, fixing each other one lesson at a time. Of course, secrets like that have an expiration date. One afternoon, Lily was already under the mango tree with a lunchbox when the air in the school shifted. Black SUVs rolled through the gate, security men straightened up, teachers stopped mid-sentence. Lily's face went pale. "My dad is here," she whispered. "David Williams, billionaire, oil real estate power. The man whose name was on the school building." I arrived late barefoot, as usual, panting. "Sorry, I had to get water for my mom." I started to say, then I saw it in Lily's eyes. Fear. I turned, and there he was, walking towards us, tall, perfectly dressed, two assistants behind him, like shadows, looking from his daughter to the dirty boy holding a worn nylon bag and a half-eaten biscuit. "What are you doing out here?" he asked Lily, voice calm but heavy. "Having lunch," she said. "With who?" His eyes cut to me. My heart hammered. I opened my mouth, nothing came out. Lily stepped in front of me. "This is Benjamin," she said. "He is my friend. He teaches me. He is the reason I am finally passing." You could feel the air suck out of that field. She had just told one of the most powerful men in the country that his expensive teachers were failing and a barefoot street kid was not. He stared at me. "Who are your parents, child?" he asked quietly. I said the truth. No father, sick mother by the roadside near mile 12, no home. "You are not in school?" he asked. I shook my head. "Why? No one to pay." Simple math. Then he said a sentence I never expected. "Take me to your mother." I panicked. I thought, this is it. He is going to arrest us, punish her, punish me, shut every door that has not even opened yet. I begged him, "Please, sir, do not hurt her. She does not know what I do here. She is not well. If you want me to stop coming, I will stay away." He looked at me, really looked at me. "I am not here to hurt you," he said. "Take me to her." So we did. 30 minutes later, his convoy pulled up to the filthy sidewalk that had raised me. Flies, smoke, broken bottles, my mother sitting on the ground, talking to the sky. I pointed with a shaking hand. "That is my mom." He stepped out, walked over, crouched down in that dirt like it was nothing. "Madam," he said softly. She muttered something about wings and his car. He watched her, then looked back at me. "I know people," he said quietly. "She needs proper care. She is going to get it." "I do not want money," I whispered. "I just want her to be okay." He put his hand on my shoulder, steady. "From today," he said, "you are not a homeless boy. You have a father now." That was the first twist in my story. That night, I stood in a clean bathroom, staring at a mirror that did not have cracks, with water running clear from a tap, with soap that smelled like citrus, and I did not recognize the boy looking back. Lily ran up and down the hall, yelling that I was staying. The staff looked confused until Mr. Williams said, "This is Benjamin. Treat him with the same respect you give my daughter." He moved my mother into a private psychiatric facility. No publicity, no speeches, just action. He enrolled me at Queen's Crest. New uniform, books of my own, a bed in his house. I carried street instincts into that polished world. I woke up expecting the ground. I hid bread in my pockets, out of habit. I flinched at raised hands, but I studied like my life depended on it, because it did. Lily and I sat up late over homework, laughing, arguing, growing into something like brother and sister. Months later, in front of a judge, my life changed again. Mr. Williams filed to adopt me legally. The judge asked if I understood. My voice shook, but my answer came clear. "He is already my father," I said. "I just want my name to tell the truth." The gavel dropped. Benjamin Williams. That name felt like a promise. Time skipped forward. I competed in a national spelling bee, Lily, too. We made it to the final rounds side by side. She slipped on one brutal Italian word. I landed mine and took the trophy. Headlines exploded. From street boy to national champion, Billionaire's adopted son makes history. Cameras, talk shows, invitations. But success pulls shadows. Old pictures surfaced online, me barefoot beside my mum in rags. Comments poured in. PR stunt. Pity project. Keep gutter kids off TV. He does not belong with them. I would scroll at midnight, staring at strangers using my pain as content. One night on the balcony, Mr. Williams took the phone gently from my hands, set it down and said, "When I started my first company, people called me Bush Boy. Now they line up at my office. People fear what exposes their own failure. Let them talk. You know who you are." Lily leaned into me and said, "They are watching your steps because they are scared of how high you might climb." I laughed a little, but it still cut. Stick around because what happened next will blow your mind. Sometime after that, I got a letter. Global Scholars Program, Washington, D.C. Top STEM school, full scholarship, travel, mentorship. The kind of thing kids from polished homes dream about. Somebody had sent in my story and results. Out of thousands, they picked me. When I told Mr. Williams, he looked at the letter, then walked out to the garden without a word. I followed, nervous. I found him standing under the mango tree, wiping his eyes. "Do you know what I was doing at your age?" he asked. "Selling kerosene on the roadside, skipping meals so his siblings could eat. Now my son," he said, "is going to stand in rooms I never entered. I am not just proud of you, Benjamin. I am honored to know you." At the airport, he handed me a small black box. Inside was a gold necklace with a tiny mango leaf. "So you never forget where you came from," he said, fastening it around my neck. He hugged me hard. "Fly," he whispered, "and when you look back, make sure it is to lift someone else up." Yeah, that happened. In the U.S., my world exploded in color and scale. Labs, libraries, people from 40 different countries. I spoke on stages about education, about mental health, about how one chance can change a life. I wore my mango leaf and my name tag with Nigeria printed under it, and I never pretended I had not come from the gutter. Meanwhile, back home, my mother was slowly waking up. Psychosis that had wrapped around her for years began to loosen. One day, she blinked at sunlight without screaming. Another day, she hummed a tune in rhythm. Months later, she finally asked, "Where is my son?" The doctors called Mr. Williams. He called me. "She is asking for you," he said. I flew home on my brake heart, pounding harder than any exam I had ever taken. At the hospital, she sat by the window, hair-braided clothes, clean eyes, soft but cautious. I walked in with shaking hands and a bunch of sunflowers I bought on instinct. "Mommy," I said. She looked at me politely. "I am sorry," she said gently. "Do I know you?" It felt like the ground tilted. I told her stories. About mile 12, about jollof rice, about how she used to call me her prince. I brought photos, songs, little things that tied my heart back to her. Some days she smiled and listened. Some days she was distant. Some days she called me kind boy instead of son. On the 6th day, exhausted, I snapped. I told her how I had bathed her with gutter water, dragged her from traffic, starved so she could eat taken stones for her when people mocked. "And now you do not remember me," I choked. She stared scared, and I hated myself for putting that weight on her. I ran outside and sank under a mango tree in the hospital yard. Lily sat beside me like she always did. "She is healing," she said. "The mind does not come back in straight lines. Even if she never remembers you fully, you did right by her." That has to count for something. If it were you, would you keep showing up for someone who forgot you, or would you step back to protect your heart? Be honest. On my last day before flying back, I went to say goodbye. She was humming to a flower in a small vase. I knelt, placed a framed photo in her hands, one of me, in my school uniform, standing in front of Queen's Crest. She studied it. "He looks like me," she said. I swallowed. "He is you," I answered. She touched my cheek and said, "You have a beautiful heart." I covered her hand with mine. "You gave it to me." She did not fully understand, but I did. Sometimes that has to be enough. And just when you think the story has found its balance, the real twist walks through the gate. One afternoon, a man in a faded suit showed up at the Williams house. He left a letter. Inside, "I am the biological father of Benjamin. I abandoned him years ago. I have come for my child. I am ready to take him back now. Name Mark Johnson." When I walked into the study and saw him sitting there, my skin crawled. He looked me over like he was doing an inspection. "You have grown," he said. "You look like your mother." I asked him where he had been when she was talking to shadows in the market, when I was sleeping in gutters. He shrugged. He said he had been young, scared, broke, that he had told her to get rid of the pregnancy that he ran when she did not. Then he said, "But now you are somebody, and you are my son. I want you back. Let me throw that to you. If the man who once wanted you erased suddenly demands his rights when you become valuable, what would you say?" Mr. Williams stepped in. "He has a home," he said. "He is my son." Mark laughed, said, "Money does not make a father, blood does." Said he did not want Mr. Williams's wealth, just his boy, his legacy. Everyone in that room could smell the lie. He pushed for court, so we went. DNA came back. He was biologically my father. The internet exploded again. Some people said, "Give the man a second chance, blood is blood." Others said, "You do not get to throw away a child, then collect him like a trophy." TV panels debated my life like it was a case study. People who had never slept on concrete suddenly had opinions on what I owed a stranger. In front of the judge, they let me speak. I stood up, knees shaking, and looked at Mark first. "When I was little," I said, "I used to wait for you. I thought one day you would come back sorry, different. But you never came. Not when I was hungry. Not when I was holding my mother while she screamed in the street. Not when people spat on me and called me cursed. The first time you walked into my life was after I won a spelling bee and ended up on TV." I took a breath. "I forgive you," I said, "because I meant it for my own peace. But I do not owe you my future." He tried to speak. I raised my hand and added, "You showed me how easy it is to walk away. I pointed to Mr. Williams, showed me what it means to stay." Then I turned to the man who had taken me from the dirt. This man found me under a mango tree with nothing. He paid for my mother's treatment when she could not even say thank you. He gave me a name, a bed, a family. He stood beside me when the world called me unworthy. He is my father in every way that matters. I faced the judge. "If the law cares what I think," I said, "I choose to remain Benjamin Williams, son of the man who chose me." The court ruled in our favor. Custody stayed with Mr. Williams. Mark walked out angry, shouting about rights. People online kept arguing. Some said I betrayed my blood, some said I did what any sane person would do. So tell me, do you think I made the right choice, or do you believe blood should always win, no matter what I want to hear it? Years later, when people invite me to speak, they like to end the story at the scholarship, or the adoption, or the court victory. But to me, the real ending is quieter. I came back home after my studies specialized in neuropsychiatry, and with Mr. Williams and Lily, we built the Hope Blossom Foundation. We opened centers across several states where patients like my mother get real treatment, where families get counseling instead of curses, where street kids can walk in for classes, food, and safety. In the courtyard of our main center, there is a mango tree. Kids read under it, draw under it, dream under it. My mother lives nearby, cared for, stable in her own way. Some days she recognizes pieces of me, some days she just likes my voice. She is not screaming in traffic anymore. For me, that is a miracle. Lily is my sister in truth. She runs programs for girls who grew up believing they were stupid. Mr. Williams, older now, sometimes sits under the mango tree watching children laugh, and I see this soft pride settle on his face. Every once in a while he will nudge me and say, "Remember that day you thought I was coming to end your world?" And we just sit in that shared memory in silence. Sometimes, late at night, I go back to my room, open a small box, and take out the first dirty notepad I ever used. On those pages are faded numbers, vowels, my name written 3 times in a shaky hand. I press it to my chest and whisper, "We made it." But this is bigger than me. So now I am asking you not as some motivational speaker on a stage, but as that kid who used to stand outside your gate, hoping someone would notice, who is a real parent. The one who gave you DNA, or the one who showed up when you had nothing. Is a mentally ill mother less of a mother, or is she the reason I fight so hard for people like her? How many Benjamins are out there right now peeking through classroom windows, getting chased away by guards, holding genius in their hands, with nowhere to put it? If it were you, would you open your gate? Would you sponsor a child that is not your blood, stand beside someone the world calls crazy, or would you pass by, shake your head and say, "Life is hard for everyone"? My story is one answer, not the only one. So talk to me. If this story pulled something in your chest, do not just disappear. Tell me in the comments if you think I was right to choose the man who chose me, or if you believe I owe my past more loyalty than that. Tell me if you have ever had to choose your own family, walk away from toxic blood, or fight for somebody nobody else believed in. Share this video with someone who doubts their worth, someone who thinks where they were born is the final word on where they can go. Because somewhere right now, under some tree, a kid is drawing equations in the dirt with a broken pencil, waiting for the one person who will look twice and say, "I see you." And maybe, just maybe, that person is you.